Hey y'all, Jesse Petersen here with Let's Make Art, and Keenan.
Hello.
Our art cheerleader camera guy.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you about one of my favorite art supplies, which is acrylic gloss sprays by Dina Wakley.
Woo-woo.
I'm going to give you some helpful tips on things that I like to do with these. Cool?
Cool.
They come in lots of fun colors, even colors that I don't have here. And they're just awesome. And I made some of these tags with them, and I'm gonna just show you a couple different things. I'm gonna show you what it's like on different materials. I'm gonna show you the difference between them and a dilution shimmer spray. I'll demo these. Oh, my label came off. These two for that. I'm gonna show you what it's like on gesso and on watercolor paper and mixed media paper, and we're just gonna have a good time doing all the things, trying things out. And really the fun thing about this is you can just experiment and you can get all kinds of different looks and textures and just go with the flow and have a good time. All right, so the first thing I want to do is tell you about, I'm just going to use this scrap paper. I have a little overspray on that, and it's just a scratch paper, so I'll show you. So I'm going to demo the Dilutions shimmer spray. Oh, I forgot to get water.
Need me to get you some water?
Love that so much.
You got it.
Okay. I'm gonna shake this dilution spray. It has a little shaker ball in there, so you'll know your pigment's really moving around when you hear that. So you may have done some tutorials with us before, and we use the Dilutions, and you might have this hanging around. I just wanted you to see the difference between these kind of sprays and the gloss sprays, because they are very different. They're both beautiful, but they're different. Hot tip number one, just shake it. Shake it. Make sure your paint is mixed before you start using it. Thank you, Keenan.
You're welcome.
Okay. So on the right is the shimmer, and on the left is the gloss. Now, the reason I tell you to shake it is because if all the things inside are shaked together, it's less likely to clog your nozzle, spray. What do you call that, Keenan?
Spray nozzle?
Yeah, this part right here. It's less likely to
Oh, the orifice.
clog.
The spray bottle's orifice.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's a real word.
Okay. So the nozzle, the spray thingy, I like to wipe it clean like this right before I put the cap on it, just to keep it going, because it will clog. And if that happens to you, we have some extra nozzles that you can buy, little spray doogers. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry, and I want you to show you the difference. This one has a little shimmer in it, so it's kind of sparkly. This one does not have shimmer in it, and it dries quicker, and it is not transferable, and it's not water soluble, and this is. So I'll show you when that dries a little bit in a minute. I'm gonna just put that aside for a second. Or you can dry it with a heat gun. We'll see. I don't use a heat gun a lot on the acrylic gloss because it's, it has plastic properties in it, so it's pretty much just like if you get it too hot, you're just melting the plastic, which is not ideal. It is humid today in Missouri, and so that's going to be a little different too. Very humid today. Okay, we'll let that dry for a minute. Okay, now I have a couple of tags that I put some gesso on, black gesso and white gesso. And just remind me to come back to that, Keenan, when that's dry.
I will do my best.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a little purple. Now I'm using a butcher tray, and that's one thing that I should have said right in the beginning, but you wanna set up your space so that you're not worried about making a mess or ruining things. So when you start spraying, sometimes you're gonna get a little overspray on things, so move your computer, move your, favorite things that you don't wanna get paint on.
Children.
Yeah, I mean, they wash up pretty good, don't they?
Cats.
Unless you want a little extra.
A little flare, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm using a large butcher tray. You could use a smaller one, or you can use one of these craft mats that I have under here. And I'm gonna work with this too, so you can see what your options are for surfaces and whatnot. But all these are great. I just like having a little room to work when I'm filming. So, okay, I'm gonna put this over here so I don't get overspray on it. And I'm just gonna go for it. Well, I'm gonna shake it with the cap on. Cap on, and I'm gonna have my little baby wipe right here ready to wipe it when I'm done. Okay, so I'm gonna spray here at the bottom and just gonna wipe that off. I'm gonna keep saying that and reminding you so that you can keep your supplies optimal, you know. Now what's fun is you can kind of get these colors to mix like that, which is nice.
Cool.
And then we'll just do a little more orange up here.
This color combo makes me have a memory.
Yeah?
I once sprayed a Hydro Flask bottle. I guess I should say I dipped a Hydro Flask bottle with purple and orange to give it a new, whatever it's called, coating, like custom.
So if you have gesso, the paint doesn't soak into, sorry, I just want to tell them this really quick before I commented on your thing. It will receive the paint on the gesso and you can blot it away and kind of get a different effect. So that's kind of cool. Just wanted to show you how that happens.
Neat.
See that? So are you happy with the results of your Hydro Flask?
I was. I needed to put a different finish on it because it was a little sticky. But yeah, it was cool. It was a good, fun project.
And you can even go back with like a wet paper towel or a baby wipe and you can take even more paint away if you want that. So you can have a lot of fun with gesso kind of repelling the paint a bit and the paper soaking it up where there's no gesso. So have fun experimenting with that. And then another fun thing that I like to do is when I have a puddle of paint like this, I just like dipping whatever scrap paper I have around because I don't like wasting my paint. So that's kind of fun. And you can twist it too and get some fun effects like that. So that's kind of neat.
Sweet.
Doing that. So that. And that's how I got this one. I had those two colors and I had also used marine in the tray and then I just kind of soaked up the puddle and that was pretty.
That one makes me think of lightning.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's show you gesso because a darker surface is going to like look differently than a light surface. So this one I did a little gesso in the background and then I just kept on adding stuff too. It was really cool. So let's try that. Well, shake it with the top on. It's better that way. I'm just gonna spray the bottom here. And again, you can take your paper towel and you can dab it where the gesso is and have that kind of repel if you want in areas and leave the other paint that way. But the gloss spray is opaque and so it does show up over these darker colors too. See that?
That's fun.
So it doesn't just get lost. It's going to do some neat things for you, which I really like. So I'm just gonna do a little more blue up there. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's cool. And I'm gonna set this aside to dry. I'm gonna put this over here for a second. I'm gonna bring this back and see how we're doing here. Now, if you've got a puddle that's just being stubborn to dry, you can sometimes come in and just blot it. Either one that is good for. I'm gonna dry this and I'm gonna show you that this is the dilution's on my right, so would that be their right too?
Yep.
Okay, so just put that guy over there for a second. So Well, it's not dry. It's so humid in here. It dried so quickly when I was in Arizona. Zero humidity, and then I came back here and it's like 88% humidity or something.
Yeah, I think we're at 74 today, right now.
Yeah. So if you're in a humid climate, this might take longer to dry. And I would use a heat gun sparingly on this product. Okay, now I'm touching it. I'm doing this like pretty hard, you can see, and nothing's coming off because that clear gloss spray is like, it's like spray paint. I mean, it's sealed.
Cool.
Nothing's moving on that. And even if I use water and I come up on top of it, nothing's happening. Nothing.
That's
but
awesome.
If I do that same thing over here and I rub it, it's gonna come off on my finger. See that?
Yeah, way different.
And it's water soluble, so you can come back in here and continue to work with it. See that?
Oh, that's nice.
So that's cool if you're wanting that effect and you're wanting to kind of have a watercolor sort of thing happen with that. But for bookmaking and the things that we wanted to do, I really wanted something that wouldn't move, that we can continue to build layers on without changing the background layer. And so that's why I chose acrylic gloss sprays. And they're both fabulous. They just have different purposes. And knowing that will really set you up for success for what you're trying to do. And they both come in a lot of beautiful colors. So that's that. Okay, let's see. We got, this one's almost dry. Let's just see that little bit right there. That's thinking about drying almost. One thing I like to do when I want to add a little bit of interest and I want a little bit of splash is just straight up taking this lid off.
Ooh, this is a fun one.
And then just kind of flicking it. So you can kind of get some controlled little bits of paint. You know, if you just want a couple of dots here and there, that's kind of nice.
And any color you want.
Any color. I chose white for this because I already had the gesso kind of happening there. But it's like you have a little magic wand for the paint, which is fun. You can do bigger drops if you got more on your more spray paint, whatever on there, then you can do a bigger drop if you're closer away, or if you're farther away, you could do smaller drops. Just have fun, experiment, see what you like, and make sure nothing you care about is close by, because it's probably going to get paint on, and that's all right. Okay, I'll just hit this with just try to get this a little bit drier before I set it down. Okay, so now I want to do just a ton of paint. Now you have some tags to play around with. I had a whole stack of tags I brought in here. There we go. And you can use these as backgrounds while you're experimenting, or you can experiment on some other scrap paper and then do stuff with your tags. That's why I wanted to do this before we get into our other projects, so that you would feel kind of confident after you played around a little bit. So experiment on whatever you have around. All right, I'm gonna do, what did I do? I did a lot of purple.
I like the color of your palette right now too.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna do a bunch of purple here. And I'm using quite a bit because I'm wanting this to kind of meld with the next layer. I'm gonna do some orange. Oh yeah. I'm gonna let it drip this way. And if I had more orange spray in here and maybe a little white left over, which I did, but it started drying before I got in here, then you can come in. Oh man, this is cool. It's like drippy all. Look at that, isn't that cool?
I love that.
You can come in here and pick up some of that paint and get kind of a different thing going on.
You've got like a asteroid shower mixed with a purple mountain going on right now.
Look at that. Not fun.
That is so cool.
And we got a little bit of that blue in there. And that's cool too.
That.
Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that in there.
What?
So don't waste your paint. I mean, you got all this paint in your pan if you've been spraying and it's still wet, and you can just kind of pick it back up and see what happens.
That's awesome.
So we can kind of try to dry this a little bit. Like ideally you just want to set this aside and let it dry and then come back to it, because I'm trying to show you a couple of things. I'm going to speed it up, but it's better just to let it dry. And this paper curling, it kind of flattens back out after it dries, but I'll show you what you can do to avoid that if you don't like that. See how it's kind of drying as it's flattening out as it dries.
That looks like a world. You just made a world, like not even trying. Look at that.
That's what's so fun about the acrylic sprays is like you can get some really rad backgrounds and it's not a lot of work to get there. It's just like, hey, that was cool. I'm gonna try that again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now I have a little excess paint that ran on the side, so I'm just gonna grab this again and just get that excess off of there. Oh, I love it. So fun, so fun. And that's what I did when I did this one. Kind of the same deal, but come out totally different because I just used purple and then I mopped up whatever was there. And this was just, you know, so you just keep on going with it, see what you can get.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one more because I want to be able to show you guys some things to do with stencils. This one I did like a mask on it.
Ah.
So let's do one more. Or if you've been mopping up some paint like this already, like I have that one, you can add some other paint to it. I'm gonna do that. Now the thing about when you add paint on top of paint that's already dry is that it's gonna recede just like the gesso, or repel, not recede. So if you don't want that to happen, you can come in and blot it where it was and get kind of crazy things like that because we're using a paper towel that has a texture, or you can kind of get in there quickly. You can kind of take some of that back if you want. Now it may leave a little color there, which is okay, but it's really soaking into where it was white before. Do you see that? Where it didn't, like where it was already colored.
Yeah.
So I'll show you again with the orange at the top. See what I mean, because it's really gonna take the orange. And then see how you get the purple back.
Ah, but you got a good, nice little orange crispy in the background still.
Yeah, and your purple stays. So you can overspray it so the purple gets like pushed back, or you can do that and then wipe it back. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I think I want a little more blue on the bottom, so I'm just gonna play in this puddle. So that's why I'm like, use the puddle. The puddle is cool. So that's cool, I like that. And then I'm gonna, maybe I'll do a little bit of that at the top too. Yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Kind of looks like mountains or something up there.
Yeah.
So this is just experimenting and like seeing where your brain goes when you see all of these kind of abstract shapes, decide what you want to add and what you want to cover up, what you want to leave. I just love it. This kind of looks like under a water plant or something on the side there.
Ooh, it does.
I'm just gonna blot some of that.
I'm seeing some water and lava.
You see some lava? Oh, this orange popping up?
Yeah. The floor is lava. I've played that in my day.
Yeah, so we're working in a theme of thought gardens, but your brain might just take it all kinds of places, and that's okay. Follow it. All right, so now this one's pretty dry. Yeah, it's humid here, so it's hard for me to tell, but it's feeling good. Now I designed this stencil that has these little floral shapes and positive vibes. And you can use these as stencils. I mean masks. So you could do this, or you can do this where it just masks it off. So we're gonna put this guy just as flat as we can on there. And if your tag is doing that, you can tape it down. And you can do that to avoid your, so you saw when I painted it and when it got wet, it started kind of buckling. You can tape your tag down so it doesn't buckle as much. And if you're trying to get this flat for, you know, a stencil, you can tape it down too. Oh, that's why I like this surface, but whatever surface you're using, you don't care about, it's fine. Like,
yeah, I've never seen this kind of surface before.
It's a craft mat.
It's pretty cool.
I just recently discovered it. I'm really liking it.
Good find.
Yeah. So we'll have these on the website too. Okay, well, let's just do something like that for now. Now I'm gonna just kind of hold my finger there. And I'm not gonna use a lot of spray. I'm just gonna use a little bit, because if you use a lot, it'll get underneath and it'll puddle, and I did that yesterday. So I like just a little less spray. So, and I'm farther back, not super close up, going farther back to get a lighter spray here. And then I'm just gonna pick it up. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I was gonna turn my tag, but I forgot I taped it down. So, and then if you got spray paint on you, just wipe it clean.
And I love the white.
Or you could leave that could be a nail design if you're really into that.
Oh yeah, that's like free nails.
Yeah, nail design. Okay, so then we could do the same thing with this little shape. So remember, not too close up, farther back. It's a little spray. And pick it up. Oh, I got my finger in the way there, but that's okay. I kind of like that. We'll work with it.
Kind of looks like a windmill.
Yeah, and then you could add a little more white if you're wanting to, you know, have some balance there where it's like kind of cool. We'll let that.
Yeah, that's cool.
We'll let that happen. Let it dry. Should we try another stencil?
I do not have any reason as to why we should not try another stencil.
Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna try this one. On here, or ooh, maybe we should do it on this one. I don't know. You want to pick a place that's got some contrast for sure. I might need to tape this down. And the way that we're going to use some of these tags in our book is this way. So if you want to orient things when you're folding your tag to make your book, you can think about it that way. That's one thing you could do with these tags. One of our projects is a tag journal.
Pretty fun project.
I think it is. Okay, so let's try to get this more flattish. I'll just put this guy right there, like far away. Try to get a spot where my finger isn't blocking the paint. Pick it up. Ooh, that one turned out good.
That is great. I'm telling you, that white on that purple.
So good.
Killing it for me.
Then I'm just going to do a little over here because I think that will kind of be a nice finish where this is kind of glowing in there and got a little silhouette. Woo! I love it. Let's let this dry and I'll get the paint off me while we're in the process. And I'm going to be diligent about getting the paint off my
orifices.
Sprays. Let's see. There we go. Let's cap that. Now, I think that abstract shapes work pretty well here for a stencil mask because there is some room for error, right? Like you might not get the whole shape, or you know, maybe it'll puddle under there, or the spray as it's drying might, you know, change the shape a little. So I like these floral shapes because you can still recognize it as a shape. When you start trying to use a stencil that's more specific like this, sometimes trying to spray with a stencil, like I did one with her face and her nose kind of grew a little.
Oh, good for her.
But what I really like about using these is going back into paper and cutting it out and having that be the like a spacey background that's then been cut out. So then that looks kind of cool. So, but I mean, feel free to experiment however you want. I just find that shapes that are looser kind of work better for this outcome. I'm trying to think if I covered all of the tips that I wanted to do.
You wanted me to remind you to come back to a thing.
Oh yeah? What was it?
Cannot remember.
That's okay.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to show you how this wipes clean when it's wet. And then I want to wait a second for some of this to dry on there so I can show you that you can scrape it too. Oh, some of this is dry at the bottom a little bit. So then you can come in and scrape it with this. I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing. Well, that was still wet. We'll let it dry. We'll be patient. It's humid in here.
It is.
So we'll let that dry for a second so I can show you that. And we can just use our heat gun a little bit. Like I said, sparingly is okay, I think.
Did we talk about the differences between acrylic gloss spray and dilution spray?
Yeah, we did that right in the beginning, the red, remember?
See, perfect. That's why I'm double checking.
Yeah. And I love the dilution sprays. Y'all know that. But for this, and if this is the outside of my book and I'm carrying it around, I don't want moisture to mess up my design. So for bookmaking, I really like something that's going to stay put, you know?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I love this one. It turned out so pretty. So we got that one and we did this for those kind of masks. And then this one is over gesso that I did before just to show you. And this one. And then this one is our puddle technique. So you can dip it and you can also kind of twist it to get different sort of movement in there. And then this one we just did a puddle and spray and then a puddle again. And we got all kinds of really cool things happening there. And then this is what we did with the gesso. And then we also tried the flicking technique for just the bottle itself with the spray thing out. So just reminding you of all the things that we did there. And I'm seeing I have a lot of paint in here still, so I might just dip one more just for fun. So if you got a little more paint in there and you got some scrap paper, or you're brave and you've tried this a couple times, you want to do a tag, then just go for it. Let's just see what happens when we do it. Just go for it. I'm gonna drag it across like that. Whoa.
Cool.
Some of these colors, if they're really been mixing in your tray, will get a little muddy, but I think they're kind of pretty to just muted that way. So that could give me a fun start later on when I come back. I'm just gonna hit that a little bit of heat. I like how the when the blue and the orange mix, you get kind of a greenish color.
Plus, I like a good brown, so I'm not mad about a muddy color. Yeah.
Now these are kind of warmer colors, even though there's some cool colors in there. It's kind of a warmer one. So like the eggplant plays nicely with these other warm colors because it's a warm purple. If that makes sense. Okay. There's a blackberry color in the Dina Wakley colors that's a cooler purple. So this one plays nicer with these colors. So that's just something to keep in mind. The colors that you choose. I like to stick with cools and warms with warms. That kind of helps your color mixing go better. Okay, let's see if any of this is dried on there. Oh yeah, this side is kind of dry. I just want to show you how easy it is to scrape it. Isn't that cool?
Whoa.
This comes right off. Nothing sticks on here forever, which is so neat. And then those wet spots, if you're cleaning up while it's wet, you can just wipe it clean. So it looks like I've got some wet and some dry happening in here. So then I can just come back, scrape it. And then I'll be all clean for next time if that is something you want to have, a nice clean workspace. You can keep scraping there. I mean, I've had this thing where it's just been layered and layered and layered because I worked all day playing with all these tags and then I scraped it and it was so satisfying. I just love that.
That would be super satisfying.
There's some chipboard that you can play around with. Chipboard shapes work really well with acrylic. I might demo that later. Just have fun. Just try to be in a kind of playful mood when you start playing with this, because it's so funny. When I make art with my kids, I'm always reminded that they're just there to do it. They're never thinking too much about the outcome and if it looks like something or not. They're just so excited just to play around. And so I think we lose that as adults. And I like the idea of kind of revisiting that as you experiment with these different things. And you can remember, once these are dry, you got a whole other side of your tag that you can keep on going with. And so both sides will show in the book that we're making, so you want to have both sides designed as well. Thanks for joining us for our acrylic gloss sprays helpful tips. It's a lot of fun to make these, and we're so glad that you joined us today. You can find more videos and content on this on letsmakeart.com.